the SES really come into their own, and I want to thank each and every member of the SES for the work that they've done. I can confirm for you that overnight there's been 372 call-outs. 160 of those relate to trees falling, 98 of those call-outs relate to flooding, and 86 of those relate to building damage. So on behalf of all Victorians, we are very grateful to the SES for the work that they do. Now, the reason we've come together today is to make some very significant announcements in relation to something that's been, if you like, exposed during the last 12 months or so. This 1 in 100 year event, the global pandemic, has shown us so many of the things we can be proud of: the strength of character, the fact that we're a compassionate state, we look out for each other, the fact that we have a world-class health system. The list goes on and on. But it's also exposed some things that we just can't settle for. Insecure work is toxic. Insecure work isn't just bad for those who work under those conditions. It's bad for all of us, and we all pay a price for the fact that so many people, particularly those who work in public-facing jobs, do not have sick leave, do not have sick pay or carers pay to fall back on. And what we've seen this year, and indeed what we see with perhaps not noticing every year, is that so many workers have to choose between going to work sick or feeding their kids, paying their rent, paying the bills, surviving, getting to next week. That's not something that we should settle for. I think we're better than that. I think that we can build a system that is fairer and safer. And that's why today we're very pleased to announce that in tomorrow's budget there will be a $5 million grant, $5 million allocation to run, in partnership with industry and unions, a 2-year trial of a minimum sick pay and carers pay scheme for those who are in insecure work. The way this will work is throughout the rest of this year and into next year, we will design the scheme. It'll be focused on those industries where we know there is much more insecure work than others. I think some of the details we've given you, whether it's hospo, supermarket workers, private aged care workers, some in the security industry, the list goes on. The final list of who will be included will be determined via that planning process and that partnership between employers as well as unions and, of course, our government. Those who are in the scheme, and it's a 2-year pilot commencing either, those who are in the scheme, it's a 2-year pilot commencing either late 21 or early 22, will be entitled to, once they provide a medical certificate and all the other hurdles that anyone else has to go through, they'll be entitled to up to 5 days' pay at the minimum wage, which is just under $20 an hour, so around $750 in total pay for those 5 days, for either leave, a payment when they are sick, or a payment if they have to care for someone else who's sick. The final design is a big piece of work. If we had all the answers, of course, we would announce them today. But this is not something that any government has ever done, and it's about time that we got on and fixed this. Insecure work and the terrible choices that people are forced to make isn't just bad for them and their family, it's bad for every single family. We can build a fairer system and a safer system, and that's exactly what we intend to do. This will be no cost to employers in the pilot phase, but there's every expectation that there'll need to be a modest levy some years off, well after we've dealt with all the immediate damage to that this virus has caused us, to pay for this scheme. We can't in 2020, and certainly in the years to come, settle for a system where hundreds of thousands of workers have nothing to fall back on. I don't agree with the view that some in the federal government have put that, well, people are paid 20–25% more per hour because they're casual, and they should put that money into a private sick fund. You know, that does not attach to reality in any way. So many of these workers, proud, hard-working, committed, but they're living from week to week, from month to month. And the notion that they are salting away, like some sort of a private superannuation account, large sums of money, so that if they don't work, they do get paid, that just doesn't make any sense. It's not even a matter of whether they should be doing that. It's not happening, and that speaks to the fact that there are many, many people who are under acute financial pressure, work hard, yes, do as many shifts as they can, but there's no cash reserve to fall back on. We can do better than this. we can be fairer, we can be safer, and we can not only protect those workers, but we can protect their workmates, and we can protect every customer, every client. As I throw to the Treasurer, let me put it to you this way. Not only is this fairer and safer, but just think about it from your point of view. Your employment arrangements may involve sick leave, may involve carers leave, but regardless of how you're employed, you don't want to be served a meal in a restaurant by someone who's sick. You don't want your elderly parent or grandparent to be cared for in a private aged care facility by someone who's sick. We can do better than this, and we've got to make it possible for people to make better choices and not be forced, because of the way we've designed our system, to go to work to feed their kids instead of staying at home because they are unwell. That's a terrible position to put any worker in, and we're determined to do something about it. This has never happened before. That's why it's a trial. That's why there's some time to design it up. But no one wants to sit at a restaurant and be served their meal by someone who's sick. No one wants their elderly relatives cared for in a private aged care home by someone who's sick, who was forced to go to work because they have no safety net, they have nothing to fall back on. There's also one further example. Because this is carers pay as well, this will mean less kids are sent to school sick, because mum or dad will have the opportunity, they won't be forced to go to work. So it is about a safer workplace, it is about a fairer workplace, and we will all get a benefit from this, all of us. Not just in a pandemic event, but seasonal flu is a big challenge every single year. There's a massive productivity boost that comes from this, and there's also a public health benefit, and there's also just that sense of decency, that those who are doing it very tough but work very hard should be better provided for than the current system does. We're very excited about this. This is exactly the sort of issue that should be tackled. It should have been tackled many, many years ago. It's not to say that casual work isn't important. It's not to say that all casual work is wrong. But we've got to get the balance right, and we simply don't have it right now.